This is the time of year when we are preparing our budget for the next 12 months. This is something we do every year, and it's how we work out how much money we need to spend running your local services, and more importantly, where this funding will come from. For those of you not familiar with local government, councils like ours have two main sources of funding: money direct from government and money from your council tax. As you might expect, if we get more money from government, then we need less money from council tax to help pay for the roads, recycling, care of vulnerable people, children, adults, and lots of the other important services that we provide. Despite what you may have heard about government giving more money to local councils, Rutland's government funding for 2020 is only $380,000 more than last year. I know this sounds a lot, but bear in mind it's £135 less per person when compared with other councils with the same responsibilities. To put this in context, if Rutland got the average funding from government, then we would have an extra £5 million towards local services. This isn't just disappointing, it's unfair, and we're lobbying government hard through our MP Alicia Cairns to get better, fairer funding for Rutland. Like all councils and a great many households, we expect our costs to go up this year, meaning it's getting more expensive to provide local services. This isn't because of anything we've changed or planned to do differently. We're having to find an extra £1.3 million just because of inflation, plus a further £1.6 million because people, more than ever, are coming to us for help. We've seen an increase in the number of older people in residential care, as well as an increase in mental health cases locally. There's been a rise in the number of children needing foster care in Rutland, and we're also having to increase our support for children with special educational needs and disabilities. These are what we consider to be some of our most important services, and therefore we plan to spend half of our entire budget on social care this year. That's almost £19 million. To balance the books, we found ways to make savings of around £500,000 this coming year without cutting any local services. However, this is becoming more and more difficult, and we've worked hard to keep our overheads as low as possible for many years now. Because of all of these factors, our lack of government funding, increased costs, and growing demand for our care services, we're reluctantly proposing a council tax increase of 3.9% in this coming year. Half of this, 2%, will be retained just for social care services. This works out as an average increase of £1.30 per week for households in Rutland. And as ever, we'll have a separate fund set aside for anyone who may struggle to pay their council tax bill. If approved, the increase would allow us to carry on protecting those key services like adoption, fostering, dementia support and road safety, as well as libraries, to name just a few. However, if we do have to spend less in the future, then we need to know from you which services you want to see reduced. We know that the way that government shares out funding for councils places an unfair burden on Rutland residents. It simply cannot be right that Band D council tax in the London Borough of Westminster is currently £750, compared to almost £1,700 here in Rutland. We also have no idea what funding we may get from government after 2020. If we don't get more, then we'll have some difficult decisions to make. But we will continue to fight for the funding that Rutland needs and deserves. And we welcome any comments and feedback you may have about our latest draft budget.